Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Business Morning on Sunrise Daily. Will I say is the United States Day all over the world now as election results trickle in and already affecting from commodities and sentiments. Even the dollar, I don't know when the dollar is affected. Of course, it affects everyone. But let's find out more about that during this 30 minutes of business that we do before we head back to the Sunrise Daily Studio. We start from the global space. Oil, of course, is top on that list, fell as much as 2% on Wednesday after 2 sessions of gains as the dollar surged under projection that Donald Trump, a former president, will become the next president of the United States. Also, there's the crude stocks on the United States. It rose more than forecast. So we look at the numbers now, and we see that oil, Brent, dropped 1.5% in one trading session. That's $74.36 a barrel, 1.5% down in the red. WTI follows suit at $70.88 a barrel. And of course, this is on a surging dollar weighing on commodities prices. So once dollar goes up, every other thing becomes more expensive, demand drops. So a Trump presidency could see policies that may further pressure the Chinese economy. You know, Chinese is a major driver of oil prices. I mean, if they're not in a good place, that means demand will weaken and then it's come back to price. The dollar was set for its biggest one-day rise since March 2020 against major pairs as the Trump trades took off. A stronger U.S. dollar makes greenback-denominated commodities such as oil and gold more expensive for holders of other currencies, and in turn, it reduces demand. And talking about Donald Trump,
This is great. These are our friends. We have thousands of friends on this incredible movement. This was a movement like nobody's ever seen before. And frankly, this was, I believe, the greatest political movement of all time. There's never been anything like this in this country and maybe beyond.
Well, the result is not official yet in the United States, but we see the Republicans leading from the presidential to the governorship to the Senate and the House. Republicans leading, and there you saw Trump leading by over 51%, while Kamala Harris is about 47% the last time I checked from AFP. So wait for the official, but I mean, Trump is already excited and the market is already reacting. If you're following Bitcoin, you will see it got up to the highest, a new high, 74,000. I think it's still retaining that up to this morning. Unfortunately, that does not mean good news for the naira, but we'll talk about that more. Let's see how the naira traded at the close-of trade yesterday. We saw for NFM, the naira dropped 0.33%, opened at 1,606 naira 90 kobo, but closed at 1,671 naira 32 kobo. There it gained just about 5 naira 58 kobo. But it's the flip side for NAFEX. These days we see inverse relationship between both. So we saw a drop 1.24%, lose. That's about 20 naira 54 kobo for NAFEX went up. But always remember, this is the major market where most of the activity in the currency market takes place. So that's what we have for yesterday from NFM, and we wonder what it will happen when Donald Trump is officially named the winner, and the dollar keeps trending, is already surging as we speak, the highest in, I think, 2020 and all of that. So we'll see what that means. Now, one country that may not be very happy that Trump may be coming back as the president is China. You know, the relationship between them isn't so nice. But at this time, let's talk about China's relationship with Nigeria. They've had an exhibition and they're hoping to close ties further and increase trade further with Nigeria. 2024 China Commodities Expo in Nigeria, holding in Lagos, could be described as a meeting point for private and public sector stakeholders in the manufacturing and trade of goods and services in both countries. The Republic of China has expressed commitment to continue doing business with Nigeria in spite of economic headwinds, and this shows in the data from Chinese Customs Authority that the volume of bilateral trade between Nigeria and China stood at $22.6 billion in 2023. The acting consul general of the People's Republic of China in Lagos, Mr. Jin Mingyun, emphasizes that the Expo's role is more than just a platform for showcasing Chinese products, but also a bridge for enhancing understanding and deepening cooperation between Nigeria and China.
The African continent.
The Chief Executive Officer of the Center for Promotion of Private Enterprises, Dr. Muda Yusuf, draws attention to the fact that there are even more opportunities in exploring the relationship.
And with the planned rebasing of the Nigerian economy, we will soon regain our preeminent status with regards to the size and ranking of our GDP on the continent.
The cooperation can and should be deepened further with commitment from the Lagos State government.
Our administration is committed to fostering an environment that promotes trade, encourages investment, and supports local enterprises. We recognize that strong bilateral relationship, especially with a great country like China, are very vital for attracting foreign investments, and that will drive infrastructural development and create jobs for our people.
The event has over 15,000 exhibitors showcasing a diverse range of products from industries such as tires and auto parts, consumer goods and cultural products, food, electromechanical products, sporting goods, hardware and building materials. All right, but let's stay on the oil and gas for now. We know that the issue around petrol price controversy in Nigeria is still on. Statements from Dangote refinery, reaction from Petrol, Ipman, and all of that. Let's get another perspective. Another player, another group of players in the industry gets their own perspective, and that is the modular refineries. They're also contributors to all of this, and they're domestic refiners. Find out what's going on with them. We have joining us virtually now the chairman of OPAC Refineries. He's also the chairman of Crude Oil Refiner Owners Association of Nigeria, that's Koran. Mr. Momo Oyarikua joins us virtually from Lagos. Mr. Oyarikua, good morning, and thank you for your time.
Good morning, Ine.
So it's good to hear. It will be good to hear your voice talking about the modular refineries in the midst of all of this. We know that you're supposed to be in the same position with Dangote since you are a local or domestic refiners, but there's also the cry of monopoly. So what is your stance in the midst of all this high or low price of petrol, imported or not, and then the issue of substandard petrochemical products?
To put it in the right perspective, Koran is not just about the modular refinery. Dangote is also our member. So I haven't said that. I think the issues that have been going on in the last few days about pricing, about Dangote trying to monopolize and all of that, for us as an association, as Koran, we actually don't think people are being fair to the refining industry. We are seeing it as an effort to frustrate local refining in Nigeria. The truth is that if products are being imported into Nigeria to compete against products that are produced by refineries in Nigeria, there won't be healthy competition. Some of the things Dangote has said, they are quite very true. I mean, products are being blended, and we are aware, I'm still playing in the downstream sector. We are aware of situations where products are brought into Nigeria, and sometimes we have even purchased as a company. My trading company has actually purchased product before. After 2 weeks and all of that, the product will change color and will return it to some of these international traders that bring the product into the country that trade out of Lomé. And now what they are trying to do, because they are local refineries, some of them we are aware are taking like tanks in Nigeria, and they want to come and compete with the local refineries with this kind of products that are being traded. I can assure you that the product we produce from our local refinery, our best quality. I have one product in my office that since we started refining, I've had it in my office. The color has remained the same. Everything has remained the same. So we in the refinery sector, we are actually not very, very happy that this is happening. We had a summit recently where we said we, as refiners, we want to make Nigeria a net exporter of petroleum products. There is no way Nigeria can be a net exporter of petroleum products if we begin to have imported products compete with Nigeria. We are looking for a platform, and we are asking, which was the purpose of the summit, where we can have conversation with the downstream players. Let's understand what the issues are. Let's see how we can all resolve all these issues together. It's not just the downstream player, even the upstream players, to supply us food to be able to refine locally and ensure that we are able to meet the yearning and the needs of Nigeria with local products. And I'm sure with time, the price will come down because there are...
Yeah, Lady, good morning. How are you doing? Please, can you ask any of your technicians?
Looks like there's a bit of a clash. There's a bit of a clash there, Mr. Yarikura. We apologize for that. I think that's our next guest, trying to, but I think that has been taken care of now. Can you hear me? Could you please complete your
I can
Sorry
hear you.
about that.
So like I was saying,
now it seems that the network of Mr. Yarikura is not so stable at this time, unfortunately. But I mean, I believe he will be back. And I would just like to ask him, Mr. Yarikura, if you can hear us, I would just like to ask, are you saying that the claims of the marketers, especially Petrol, they had a statement out that they will be able to import quality petroleum products into the country at lower price? Are you saying that is not a possibility?
You see, I cannot refute it, but we need to be backing some of these statements with facts. Which refinery are they going to import these products from? There is no refinery in Africa today that is working. If you're bringing some of these products, even the traders that are bringing products into Nigeria, some of them, they come from ARA, which is in Rotterdam. They don't come from refineries directly to Nigeria. If you are going to Singapore, you are going to America or any of this part, how much is it going to cost you to transport a refined product from those areas to Nigeria? Let's be very clear. If any association is saying that they can import products into Nigeria, let them declare where this product is coming from. One of the statements I read was that, they are waiting to get FX at official rate. I mean, that's exactly what I wanted to say. Two things come to play when it comes to refining and the sales of refined products in Nigeria. There is the FX element, which we are all aware today. FX has been going up. It's very, very unstable. It's about, at the parallel market level, it's about 1,700 something, 700 plus, depends on who you are buying from. And crude has been fluctuating. And this is what actually modulates the price of refined product. And we all know, if you go there, if you go and benchmark this using Platts and looking at the petrol index in Platts, anybody today who says that he can import any product into Nigeria less than 900 naira, the person must be questioned, because this is an international market. It's not anything that is hidden. The calculations are there. Today, we know to import products into Nigeria at dollar level is probably going to be about between $700 and $730 per ton, including some of the logistics. So if you put that, if you calculate all of that, the minimum price you perhaps may be getting depends if you are paying interest to your bank. If you are not paying interest to your bank, you're going to probably be getting about 1,000 naira. So, and someone is saying that he can import cheaper than one of our members who is probably selling his product now into the local market at about 900 or something. I don't see how that is going to happen. We need transparency in this industry, and for it, what we have been saying is that let there be collaboration between the downstream players and also the refiners so that we can find a way. What we are doing today, nobody is giving us incentive. There is no incentive to the refiners. Even recently, the president said that we should be supplied coal. None of us has been supplied coal. Nobody is even discussing with the Modular refinery owners. It's only Dangote that they have had conversations from. These are all frustrating. We've been in this industry now for 7 years, and it's all frustration. We need some form of support.
All right, we do hope that support will come, but I guess our hope now will hinge on the regulator. The Petrol are saying they're waiting for their license to be approved. You have said from calculation it isn't possible to actually import quality products at a lower price. So I guess we can only look up to the regulator, NMDPRA, at this point to weigh in and protect both investors and consumers.
You see, some of these things, they are a form of aberration. You know, when you go into the PIA, even part of the PIA says that if there is a gap in supply in Nigeria, the only people that even have the legal right to import products are even the refinery owners first. If the refinery owners are unable to now import, that's when you go to the big marketers. Some of these things are not being followed. We are thinking that there is an effort to frustrate refining in Nigeria, because if the law is to be followed, the refiners, even when they are not able to even refine properly, the law says that they should be the first people to import products. So we think there is a collaboration between the international traders who are trading products into Nigeria, our local marketers, and some of the people in the downstream setup, and perhaps maybe some elements in government to frustrate the refining industry in Nigeria. And that is what we are seeing. It's been a struggle. All the time we are swimming against the tide.
All right. I guess, I think just as I said, the regulator will have to step in. As the media also, we do have the responsibility, and apparently that's why we're having this conversation, to bring everything to the limelight, get the parties involved, to tell Nigerians what's really going on. And we'll keep at it. Mr. Momo Oyarikwa, the chairman of OPAC Refineries and also the chairman of Crude Oil Refinery Owners Association of Nigeria, Koran. And as you said, they don't just cover the modular refineries. But thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thank you for having me.
All right, as I mentioned earlier, today is all about the United States, and we know that Mr. Trump is leading and already getting really excited. Let's talk a little bit about that, and then we'll come back and talk about what it means for Nigeria. There you have it, Mr. Trump, well, on his way to victory, being announced officially, I guess. Looking at the votes so far. But what does it mean for Africa? What does it mean for Nigeria? Already we see the dollar trending, and that's no good news for our debt servicing. Neither is it good news for oil and all of that. But let's find out now with what it could mean with Mr. Oji Udemezue, the managing consultant and chief executive officer of Flame Academy and Consulting Limited. He joins us virtually from Kaduna State. Now, Mr. Udemezue is actually supposed to talk about the market, but I can't help but look at this first and see what this could mean for Nigeria. Mr. Udemezue, good morning, and thank you for joining us this morning.
Morning, Nini. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Mr. Udemezue. So what does the Trump win mean for, let's just go straight to Nigeria. What does it mean for us?
Trump's winning means a whole lot, not just for Nigeria, but for a whole lot of the emerging markets, Africa, Asia, in fact, the whole world. Because it is believed, and I also believe strongly, that the uncertainties, the geopolitics we have in the Middle East, in Asia, Russia invading Ukraine and so on, that those wars and rumors of wars and escalations are going to be tempered now. They're going to, he has his own way around global leaders, and they also have a whole lot of respect for him. Let's not say that they fear him, but he is a very strong leader. He was able to curtail ISIS and a whole lot of other issues we had in the Middle East. So his winning will mean that all the sources of inflationary pressure, like the Ukraine invasion by Russia, caused disruption in supply chain, both oil and gas, crude oil and so on, wheat and several other commodities that come from that axis of the world, and that was what actually triggered the main round of inflation from 2022, which has caused problems not only in Nigeria but all over the world. Can you hear me, Ini?
I can hear you, Mr. Ademeze. Go ahead, please. So
with his winning now, we expect that in the medium to long term, those issues of wars, Israel, Hamas, Hezbollah, Iran escalation and so on. In fact, he even promised that before he takes over in January, that he would have resolved the issue with Russia and so on. I also believe that the rest of the Middle East will listen to him more and then get this whole war settled. If that is done, inflation globally will begin to temper and get better, and you see global economy threatening again beyond its current level. Now, so I believe that Nigeria's GDP will also become a bit stronger than the fragile position here now. Yes, the price of crude oil may not go as high again as it has gone before, but for Nigeria that's also a positive, because we're still very dependent a whole lot in imported crude. Even if local refiners will have to import the crude oil like Dangote, they will get at a better price over time, and I believe that will reduce the high cost of things in Nigeria and will also cause a better pricing of commodities. Inflation will come down. While dollar is threatening quite all right, I also believe that naira will also get some breather.
Okay, Mr. Ademeze. Okay, Mr. Ademeze, let's hope that all those good things will come to pass as we see that Mr. Donald Trump is leading. But I mean, before you came on, we did talk about the oil and gas, and we wanted to see a bit about the sentiments, how all of the controversy with the petrol price and all the policy and all of that is affecting investors' sentiment. So we do know some of the high points in the oil and gas is that Africa Capital Alliance recently they sold shares worth 19.8 billion of Aradel Holdings PLC following the listing, and we've seen a lot of things profit taking going on with Aradel that led to a negative market last month. Now we also see Unicel, well, not very much known, but now we see it's a Nigerian-owned oil and gas production solutions company, and we've seen it trending. It's been on a gaining rally for a couple of weeks now. And then we have Oando. Oando just released its results. The suspension that was on it, trading its shares, has been lifted. And we've seen the result, Oando PLC reporting 45.5 billion in pre-tax profits as supply trading business boosts 2 trillion naira. So looking at sentiment around the oil and gas counter, amidst all that's happening in the industry, what have you observed?
Okay, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Mr. Ademeze. Please go ahead.
Great things are happening in the oil and gas sector. Can you hear me, Any?
Go ahead, Mr. Ademeze. I can hear you.
Okay, so the oil and gas sector is becoming more and more exciting, with Oando leading the new waves of divestment. Investment, deep investment in the upstream sector of that industry, where they recently completed the acquisition of now Nigerian Agri-Oil Company's huge assets, and a few others are following. But Oando has become the leader in that movement of buying over these assets from divesting international oil companies. And if you look at the result, we're on the release and the rally in their shares, you see that there's a whole lot of goodwill coming around that company, and investors, who are very smart will begin to take position in that, segment of the oil and gas sector. If you look at Rwanda's result, they grew significantly from 2022 to 2023 across all parameters, and then due to some challenges they had earlier in the year, insecurity and all of that, and of course the foreign exchange losses, they posted a decline, not a loss now, but a declining growth in their profitability. All right, but if you drill down further on that line, you find that 2 months post-acquisition of Nigerian assets, they have seen huge growth in their trading activities, Rwanda trading, and of course, a better use of their huge assets, which they just acquired from Nahok in trying to boost production. That's just in 2 months post-acquisition. Now, if you give them time, because Rwanda is a local or indigenous operator now in the upstream sector of Nigerian oil and gas sector. Now, they know the environment, they know our people. All the insecurity issues, post-community aggression and all of that are going to taper. They're going to, manage them better because we know ourselves. We can enter the creeks and resolve the issues. And if they remove those obstructions to the activities and put their huge assets, they recently acquired from now almost $1 billion of assets, they begin to put them into productivity, use them very well. If they maintain even their current level of return on assets, you will see a huge level of profitability coming up on that investment. So there's so much excitement awaiting investors in that company, and of course I believe in other similar companies in that sector, the Seplat and the rest of them. So Rwanda is a leader in that sector, and I see a huge opportunity, in their operations. Don't forget that the acquisition of Nahok assets includes a whole lot of things, several about 40 discovered, oil fields with about 25 or more currently operating, and even almost 40 of about to be discovered prospecting field. They have a large, asset of gas pipeline, crude oil pipeline, even the loading bay in brass, and very importantly, the energy, that's the power plant in Obai and Benin. There's a whole lot.
All right,
Mr. Allow me to mention all of these assets.
Yes, yes, obviously.
Government support our local player and they're able to put these assets to use. There's so much promise on the investment in Rwanda and their shares in the market, my own belief.
Yeah, Mr. Demezwe, well, I really wish we had more time because it would be interesting to know how this will fit into the issue, the challenge that we have now, which is importation against a local refinery. But I mean, time forbids us to do all of that. I've really taken a bit of the time as a Sunrise Daily. But thank you so much for your time this morning, Mr. Oji Demezwe, Managing Consultant and Chief Executive Officer of Flame Academy and Consulting Limited. Thank you for your time and enjoy the rest of your day.
Always my pleasure to be on your show. Thanks so much for inviting me.
All right, now let's head back to the Sunrise Daily studio with Nelta and Kayla.